Hey folks, and welcome to my lesson on how to play All My Days by Alexi Murdoch. This is an incredible song, super fun to play. Took me a while to figure out, but I think I've got it down now. You can go check out my cover of it, and that's exactly what I'll be teaching you in these videos. And the song is pretty complex, so I'm going to split it into several different videos. I'm going to start with the intro since that's first in time, but I wanted to mention here that I think the intro is also the hardest part. So if you're getting frustrated and having difficulty with the intro, you might want to try out the video on the verse first, and that'll give your hands a good workout, and you'll start to get the feel of the song. You'll be able to sing along to the verse, which is fun. And then when you get comfortable with that, maybe come give the intro another shot. Or you can just jump right into it here with me now. So let's take a look at the tab. And first of all, this song is in drop D, so get your guitars tuned. And you can see on the tab I listed a D chord. A lot of this song is in D. However, we are never going to play the high E string in this song. So when you see the D chord, our left hand is going to go to not quite a normal D shape, but pointer finger on the G string, 2nd fret, and then the middle finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. Okay, and we're going to leave our left hand off of the E string. That'll give us more room to stretch with these other fingers, okay? Now in terms of picking, we are going to assign each of our fingers on our right hand to one string. Okay, so our thumb is going to belong on the low E string throughout the whole intro, okay? So whenever we see anything on the low E string, that's going to be our thumb hitting it. Then our pointer finger is going to belong to the D string. Our middle finger is going to belong to the G string, and our ring finger is going to belong to the B string, and our pinky is going to belong to the E string, but it's never going to play it. It's just going to sit on there, and that'll mute it, and it'll also sort of anchor your hand to where it needs to be. Okay? So let's take a look at that first measure now. And you can see it starts with an open hit on the D string, and we're going to hammer on to the 4th fret of the D string. Okay, so we're going to hammer with our ring finger, and since it's the D string, our pointer finger on our right hand is going to be playing it. So open hammer. Okay. And then we are going to play the G string, so our middle finger on our right hand, and then an open D string, and then the G string again. Okay, so let's do that measure several times in a row. So we're going to go 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. All right. So the next measure is exactly the same. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Then the next measure is similar, except we add a thumb hit in there. Okay, so 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4. Let's do that again. 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4. A couple more times. 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4. 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4. Okay, so then let's look at the next measure, and it's the same, except we add one more thumb hit at the very end there. So it goes, and let's do this measure several times in a row as well. So 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4, thumb, 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4, thumb, 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4, thumb, one more time, 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4, thumb. Okay? So the next measure is exactly the same as that. 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4, thumb. Then the next measure is almost exactly the same, except we're going to hit the B string instead of that second G string hit. So we go 1 and 2, thumb, 3, B, thumb. One more time. 1 and 2, thumb, 3, B, thumb. Okay? And then the next measure is what we've been doing again. So 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4, thumb. And then the next measure looks a little weird because it's in 7/8. But really it's just the same pattern we've been doing. But we've usually been ending with a hit on the low E string. And this time, that note, we're still going to play that note, but it becomes then the first beat of the next measure and sort of starts the main riff of the song, okay? So it's really, this was really tricky to figure out and sort of to get the timing in my brain. But really, if you just follow the length of each note and the order they're in, and maybe even don't pay that much attention to the time signatures, that might even be easier. And of course, keep listening to the song just to get familiar with it. So let's do that measure in 7/8, and then we'll go back and do what we've learned so far. So I'm going to count it in 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so let's go back and play through what we've learned so far, and then we'll go into the main riff of the song. So we've got 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4, 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4, thumb, 1 and 2, thumb, 3, 4, thumb, 1 and 2, thumb, 3, B, thumb, 1 and 2, thumb, 4, thumb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? Let's move on to the main riff of the song now. So it starts with a low E string hit, all right? And the main riff of the song, it's a little weird, but I put it as a measure of 3/4 and then a measure of 5/4. But again, just pay attention to the order of the notes and you'll be fine. So we're going to start with a low E hit, and all of these hits we hold for the same amount of time, okay? So a low E hit, and then that D string hammer on. All right, and then an open G string. So take that pointer finger off the G string, and then an E string again, and then the G string again, open, but we're going to hammer on to the 2nd fret, and that starts the second measure, the next measure. And then we have an open D string, an E string, B string, E string, G string, E string, D string, E string, B string. So let me play that in real time so you know what it sounds like, and then we'll go over it slowly together. It's going to sound like this. One more time. Okay, so let's do it nice and slow. We'll go like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and... Okay, let's do it again, and we'll repeat it several times. Okay, we'll repeat that whole riff. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and again 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and again 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and... Alright, let's do it a little faster now. This is the main riff, so we really got to practice this and get it down. So a little faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and again we'll repeat it a couple times at that speed. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and... Alright, and now just a couple times a little faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and... Alright, so keep going over that, but let's look at the next couple measures. You can see it's exactly the same as that main riff, so we'll do it one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and... Okay, let's look at the next two measures. And you can see it's basically the same, except for a little different. So you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then we add our ring finger to the 4th fret. Okay, and then an E string. Take that ring finger off and put your pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the D string and hit it. Okay, and we'll keep that chord shape for the next measure. So let's do those two measures again. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and... Okay. Let's move on to the next two measures, okay? We keep that same shape we had at the end of the last measure. We hit the E string, the G string, E string, D string, E string, G string, then the D string, and we're going to hammer onto the 4th fret with our ring finger. And let's just do that measure a couple times. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and again 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and one more time 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, and now let's move on to that next measure. E string, D string, open and hammer, G string, E string, D string, E string, B string. Okay, let's do that measure one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, so let's put those last two measures we did together. So pointer finger, 2nd fret of the D string, okay, open G string. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and again 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, so let's go over the last 4 measures we've learned all together. Alright, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and alright, so then we do the main riff twice through. So let's go through those. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and okay, and then we do a similar riff, it's just a little different though. 1 and 2 and 3, and then we usually hit the G string here, but we're going to hit the D string, open, and then we hit the open G string and hammer onto the 2nd fret, and then the E string, B, G, and then adding that 4th. So let's go to the beginning of that little riff. We go 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay, one more time, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay, and then we hit the E string, and then we hammer on the open D and hammer on to the 2nd fret. Okay, and then we're back to that same thing we played before. Okay, the G string, open E string, D string 2nd fret, E string, open G, and then the 2nd fret of the D and hammer on to the 4th fret. Okay, and then the same way we came out of that, the E string, hammer on D string, G string, E, and open D. So let's go back to the riff that was a little bit different, and we'll go through what we've learned. So the last 4 measures. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and let's go do that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, all right, and now let's look at that next measure. It's just E string, B string, E string, G string, E string, D string. And we do that measure 4 times in a row. So let's just do that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and... All right. And that is the end of the intro. So let's go back and do the whole thing all the way through, and we'll go nice and slow, all right? Here we go. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, thumb 3, 4. 1 and 2, thumb 3, 4, thumb 1 and 2, thumb 3, 4, thumb 1 and 2, thumb 3, B, thumb 1 and 2, 3, 4, thumb 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. All right, nice work on the intro. Keep up that practice and join me in the next videos and get that rest of the song down. See ya.